Are you tired of looking like this after a night on Prizepicks? For the price of that Big Mac combo you chowed down on this week, get access to hundreds of picks. Connect your Discord to WAP with the link in the description and be added straight to the premium Discord. We'll be sending every single Prizepicks slip we place.
Let's get some Prizepicks in today, guys. Last night was a beautiful night, but it could have been so much more. These were the YouTube picks right here, so they went 5-1. Almost cashed that 25x. DeAndre Hunter could not pull through with that extra 4 points, would have cashed us right on the over. You could see I also mentioned Doncic was not good enough at 10 because he does push that quite often. Yes, it still would have pushed and still won you guys some money, but it's really important to be getting ahead of these bumps. So Doncic did go right under with Grant Williams at 9 and 10 respectively. Then Bam also cleared this pretty easily. Same with Keegan Murray. So a nice 5-1 slip there. And then the other slip that actually got the profit from the title of this video was this college basketball one right here. You can see I took 3 stacks all on the unders and they all hit here. So Connecticut, Hall, and Creighton all went under here. So beautiful triple stack there, 80 into 2K. And then there's some more bad beats with this one. Sengun and Fred VanVleet, this stack did not pull through. Also took Gordon Jokic, which went very nicely. And then Halliburton and Buddy Hield, which was one I took the other night that also hit. So Fred VanVleet and Sengun ended up screwing us over there. And then last but not least, we had this one here. Jaden McDaniels, Edwards, Schroeder, Siakam, Embiid. And then Maxey absolutely popped off with Embiid. I'm pretty sure Embiid dropped like 51 points, I think it was. And Maxey also was right there near him, getting all the points for that 76ers team. So unfortunate night. Could have been a crazy like 2-3-6 flex night. Tonight we'll actually put 2 slips in, and I'm going to go to the NFL for the first one. And obviously we're just going to go with some stacks. There's only one game. We're going to go with Derek Carr and Stafford. We're going to have to grab both of them. Now I'm going to grab overs on both of them just because if we grab unders, you're going to see they're going to adjust the payouts. I'll show you at the end of the slip, but we're going to go on receiving yards too. Now for this New Orleans team, I actually don't like going Olave. I prefer to go Alvin Kamara. He is a main target on this New Orleans team. He does get a lot of receptions and he has a smaller receiving yards. Of course, he's the running back. It's different, but still, he does get a lot of targets from Derek Carr, and I do prefer him. And the second one I actually like to pair him with is actually Shaheed over Olave. So I'm not going to be touching Olave for this. It could be the wrong play, but I have checked these stacks, and honestly, Carr, Kamara, and Shaheed does hit better than like Carr, Kamara, and Olave. So I'm going to go with that for the first stack. For Stafford, I'm actually also not going to touch Cooper Kupp. I'm going to go with Puka on the over 63.5 receiving yards, of course, and we're going to stack this up with Higbee instead. So of course Higbee has cleared this line in the past 3 games, and I just like it as a better stack with Puka, Higbee, Stafford, then rolling Kamara, Shaheed, and Carr. So that's going to be the first slip. NFL is kind of easy, you just kind of stack players together, but on NBA you do have to do a bit more research. It is a bit harder. So the first pick I'm going to go with is Jordan Poole on the over 18.5 points. And I'm sort of loving this Wizards game. It is versus the Portland Trailblazers, so it's not going to be as tough as every other game is for the Wizards, and it's going to be a bit tighter. So I'm going to show you the reasoning why I'm going with Poole here, and we're also going to be pairing him with Tyus Jones in a bit. I'll show you this. So on Jordan Poole, you can see he's set at 19.5 on the sports books. On some of them, BetMGM does have him at 18.5 juiced. FanDuel has him about 18.5, just equal a bit of juice towards that over. And then same with DraftKings and Caesars. PointsBet does have him all the way at 19.5. So general consensus is, juice towards that over 18.5. Potentially could get bumped to 19 on Prizepicks. You can see he has only gone over this 8 out of 25 times, but don't look too much into this, guys. This is the Wizards team who gets blown out quite often, which means Jordan Poole's playing limited minutes. Now, when he's actually playing minutes, which I expect him to play tonight, because I'll just show you the spread quickly, -4, it should be much tighter of a game. The Portland Trailblazers are not that great either, right? So we want a bit of a tight game, a lot of minutes, and that is what we're going for here. If we actually bump up Jordan Poole's minutes to like 30-ish, if he is getting these 30 lines, he is, more often hitting this. So 7 out of 14 compared to that 5 out of 28 is looking much, much better. So we do like this. See, Jordan Poole does kind of pop off 27, 23, 30. I know he has been a bit inconsistent this season, but we could trust him here to go over that 18.5, especially if he's getting the minutes for it. Now, same concept with Tyus Jones. He doesn't clear this too often either, 9 out of 25 times. All these lines are going to be bumped because the bookmakers know that it's a bit of an easier game for the Wizards, and they're not expecting them to get blown out like they normally do, right? So in this case, they're going to bump the lines up, but at the same time, they're also more likely to hit these lines, so it makes sense for them to be bumped. So at 6.5, we do have some juice here on FanDuel, BetMGM, and DraftKings, and Caesars has a slight juice, but when I'm serious, PointsBet has him at that 50-50. So we get the juice on Tyus Jones on the over. We get the juice on Jordan Poole on the over. I set him to 28 minutes, and he has hit this 7 out of 11 times on an average of 7.5 assists. You see in these past games, actually, every time he got 27 minutes, he has hit it 6 times in a row. So it's looking very good on this stack. As long as the game actually does stay tight and people are getting their minutes, I do really love this stack on Tyus Jones and Jordan Poole. On top of that, these guys have hit together in the same direction 64% of the time. So if Jordan Poole is hitting, there's a 64% chance that Tyus Jones also going to be hitting with him. So we're going to see 2 greens in the same entry right away. So that's going to be Jordan Poole, Tyus Jones as the first 2 picks. And the next one is going to be in the OKC game. We're going to go with Shea on the over 31.5 points. And hopefully you guys are going to be able to get this line before it gets bumped, because I do think it will get bumped to at least 32 most likely. So I'll show you why I'm thinking this. He is set at 32.5 on pretty much every sportsbook except FanDuel, where they have him at that 50-50. If you're on FanDuel, I'd probably take this over 31.5 at -113. That looks like a great deal to me. Every other sportsbook has him at 32.5. Even PointsBet has him 50-50 at that 32.5. Rate him at 31.5, as I just explained, and slight juice towards the under on the 32.5. But I'm not too concerned with that. When you're getting a full point, it's a big advantage. And I have him sorted here with Josh Giddey, because that is who we're going to be playing with him. You can see the 32.5 only hits 42% of the time, or only has hit 42% of the time. But if you drop that down by 1 point, you get an extra 8% of the time that he is going over this. So that's why I say every point counts, every half point counts. If you put this up to a half point, you're down to 45% now, right? So it's very important to be staying ahead of these bumps, and I do like the fact that we're getting him at 31.5. If he does get bumped, I don't recommend it, I'm telling you now. So now we're going to be going over to Josh Giddey, and we're going to be grabbing him on the over 4 assists. I'm also very much liking this one. I'll show you the value on this. So at 4 assists, he does push this quite often. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in games with Shea that he has pushed this line. I don't like him at 4.5, obviously. It's not looking as good. But at 4, I do think it's pretty good with that push potential. 56% of the time he has at least pushed. And if we take a look at the value on the sportsbook, he's set at 4.5 on every single one of them. Yes, that's pretty heavy juice. So -160 does mean the under 4.5 is quite likely. But we're getting him at 4. FanDuel has him at -148, so it's looking decent. I do like that push potential at 4. And we are going with that stack with Shea, who we're taking on the over. I also checked the spreads out, and like the Wizards game, pretty tight game here, -4.5. I'm not expecting a blowout, and I'm expecting a tight game down to the last minutes, which is going to give us more minutes for Shea and Giddey. So I'm liking that over on both these guys here, and they have hit together in the same direction, similar to Poole and Tyus Jones, around 63 to 64% of the time. So these stacks are very, very similar in concept. I'll get to the last 2 picks. They're actually not going to be stacks, and we're going to start it off with Victor Wembanyama on the under 13.5 rebounds. I'm really liking this pick, honestly. I'll show you what I found here. On the under 13.5, he just doesn't hit this. He's averaging 11. He has hit the over 13.5 5 out of 24 times. And yes, there's a lot of lineup uncertainty tonight, and even Victor might not even play tonight, but I did check, and Vassell is questionable. Wemby is actually probable, so he might not play, but I do think he will play, and if anything, we just get the DNP, so under 13.5 rebounds. Now, let's check him without Keldon Johnson. There has only been 1 game, and he went over. Keldon Johnson might not play, but I don't know if a 1-game sample size is really much to go off of. We could also check him with Vassell, who he's actually missed more games with, and he has went under every single time. Vassell is more questionable than Keldon Johnson, so I'm not seeing too much to worry about. He has missed this every single time that Vassell is out, and Keldon Johnson, he went over that 1 time, but again, 1-game sample size, not much to go off of. What I really like here is the juice, -136, -151, -135 on BetMGM, Caesars, and FanDuel. PointsBet and DraftKings have him a bit less juiced, right? But we did flag him on OddsJuice as the best pick on the board right now. -134, we have him at a fair odds, or 57% likeness to go on that under 13.5 rebounds. So that's going to be the 5th pick. We're going to end it off with 1 more positive expected value play, and you can see it's right here. Karl Anthony Towns over 1.5 3-points made, -128 juiced, 56.14% likeness to go over, and that's versus the Lakers here. I'm really liking this one because Karl Anthony Towns has cleared this 54% of the time this season, and you can see the other sportsbooks do have some juice for him. Caesars has him flat, but FanDuel, DraftKings, and BetMGM all have him at that over 1.5 juice. The reason I'm liking this against the Lakers because the Lakers defense is 27th in 3 points allowed, so almost the worst in the NBA. And I'm also liking the splits versus the Lakers, specifically in the last 2 games in 2023. He did go over this, and then all the way back in 2022 he also got 3 3-pointers. I know it's quite far, but it's just good to see some trends here versus the Lakers, as well as the fact that they let a lot of 3 points in. So that's going to be last pick. We got 2 stacks, and we got 1 positive expected value play. We're going to lock in Towns on the over 1.5 3 points made, and that's going to be the slip for tonight.